On today's episode, featured videos include... Hi there, everyone. Welcome to episode 20 of the supplemental broadcast here on Alexandria Alternative Media Broadcasting, an OK Copernicus production. I'm your host, Jess, but you can call me Epitome or Burn Kid because I'm Epitome the Burn Kid. Please be sure to follow the entire archival project, hashtag YouTube Recommended Chronicles on X or Tumblr for the latest videos, music, memes, and more. Listen to the official soundtrack on SoundCloud. Also, if you look it up, the Copernican Dispatch is available on Spotify and Apple Music. I'm going to have to put some links to that in the description box too, come to think of it. I will do that for you guys who listen to things on other than SoundCloud. Wow, sorry for getting off track, but that's okay. It's all good. Moving and flowing. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please be sure to find me on Rumble should anything happen to this channel. All links discussed in today's episode can be found below in the description box. And please be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, and tell a friend about the many things we cover in our program. And just a friendly reminder, heavy solar activity, if that happens, or we have heavy magnetic disturbances or anything for the sake of my health and electromagnetic sensitivity, the show might go on break for a little bit, but no worries. I'll be back with you and the posts as soon as everything clears up. And without further ado, on to today's featured video recommendations. Dr. John Campbell rejoins his colleague in this video titled Ministry of Truth, which is a part of the Death of Science interview series. This installment features a lively, earnest discussion about the recent pushes for censorship and the exposures that have revealed the government's hand in the mainstream media to embark on efforts of social and political engineering. Be sure to check out the rest of this series of interviews on Dr. Campbell's channel. It's a really good dialogue to listen to. In our next video, we have the Jimmy Dore Show back in the features with a piece on the exposure of serious design flaws of the Boeing 737 MAX that could result in a great deal of fatalities. On a recent flight, Alaska Airlines had holes blow out of the fuselage midair. It's terrifying. I used to be a flight attendant when I was in my 20s. They must not build them like they used to. This story and others and other related issues are the focus of this edition of the podcast. Make sure to head over to the link found in the description box for more details. And we got our third video now. The Hindustan Times had posted a live feed of the International Court of Justice hearing South Africa's genocide case against Israel for their recent and ongoing behavior in Gaza against the Palestinians. There is no commentary on this. This is just a 12-hour long replay of the live feed of the raw trial footage at the International Court of Justice. I love featuring raw primary sources whenever I can. I was a history major. It's my bread and butter to do this properly. So that you can go witness things firsthand yourself and decide what you think for yourselves without any outside interference. You may need to skip around the selection, though, due to length, and the court recesses are quite a bit. So that fast forward button, not a bad thing. Next up, we got Clown Planet with quite the must-see snippet. Did you know Taylor Swift is a CIA asset pitched by the Pentagon PSYOP unit with receipts creatively edited for your viewing and sharing pleasure? Clown Planet just, they bring the receipts. No one brings it quite like Clown Planet. For headlines, memes, and insanity and more, head on over to their channel. It is a hoot and a holler. You'll be hooked. I know I am. Now we've got Hugo Talks channel. Is money your false idol? This is a good question. I'm most happy to share this insightful entry by Hugo Talks about money and the biblical topic of idolatry. Money is a false idol, the love of which is the root of all evil, making those who live for and under the influence of money inherently idolaters and idolatrous. Money itself is an evil, but the greed and other ills associated with money's unhealthy roles in people's lives are where the problem truly lies. For a very mindful take that walks people through the pitfalls of money's power over spirituality and human behavior, be sure to go on over and check this video out. And finally, our JP Reacts channel brings us our last video that analyzes the growing trend of body positivity and doctors' complicity in this ignorant trend rooted in the DEI woke agenda, further infecting medicine one commissioned research project at a time. Talk about con artists. Doctors are a huge part of the depopulation agenda, whether they know it or not, and the cognitive dissonance surrounding this issue is extremely disturbing. JP Sears reacts to a doctor who is also a fat pride activist, making some very concerning and false statements about a healthy weight and body. You've got to see this one to believe it. TikTok videos made by medical professionals really are a sign of the times, with all of the blatant malpractice openly occurring with them daily. I am thankful to the YouTubers who go and expose this stuff for the rest of us, or I would not have made the supplemental broadcast to get the word out further to the rest of y'all. So go on over to JP's channel and check that out. That wraps up our features for today, which brings us to my favorite part of the show. I kind of hope it's your favorite part too, but the videos are really important, which is my auspicious op-ed, my lovely little monologue where I put together some words, compose them for y'all, and I share them with you. And I really hope it inspires you to compose some words of your own and share them with everyone as well. These are important times for us to connect. So here we go. Let's take a moment to address two very common collaborating factors in the ills of modern society: deception and appeals to authority. I have noticed that most people do not make poor choices in regards to how they treat themselves and each other because they just simply decided to do so randomly in like a vacuum. That's not a thing. While many a critic will launch an assault about others as though they themselves had made an independent reasoned criticism, I have found that a force stronger than peer pressure has taken precedence over their individual considerations. The overly neurotic, almost paranoid assumption of generalized peer pressure on a collective or global scale. This excessive amount of concern and assumption regarding external perception is inherently deceptive by nature and leads to further deception the further it amplifies and projects outwardly. Do I blame the internet, devices, and apps? Well, partially, I do. But more so, I blame the exploitation of humankind's temptations, impoverishment, pain thresholds, isolation, repression, fear, and lack of impulse control that has been conditioned throughout civilization systems to implement a hardwiring of state-sanctioned ethics and highly malleable, spiritually sterilized moral imperatives. This religion of the state has snuck in amiss under a secular veneer of policy and cultural refinement in a strange attempt at beating the angel or good Samaritan out of us because they would prefer to handle a docile, impotent, metaphysically, chemically, socially, and financially chained demon. It took generations for this spectrum of totalitarian infiltration to excessively and efficiently pollute our youngest generations before they were planned to be conceived, only to be exponentially amplified upon birth to ensure complete saturation of collectivist, authoritarian values, imprint hardwiring to a child's natural development. That was the exact goal. The much darker components to this current unveiling of the establishment and authority's many layers of deception appear to stem back much further than millennia, or even eras reach. This evil that we're watching further reveal itself has seemingly been here from times so ancient that aliens walked alongside man on the earth in the form of gods, demigods, angels, and demons until divine cataclysms and societal collapses caused a few resets interwoven throughout history and geological record. This deception started with two main implementations: censorship, and streamlining. Divide and conquer is a religious credo to the deceptively kind gesture of streamlining a process for ease or convenience. How deceptively caring they appear when pushing censorship in the name of public safety. The lack of social skills and isolation from everyday people becomes very apparent when observing members of the ruling and professional managerial class. I find it quite funny that self-proclaimed socialists and communists, collectivists, both collectivists, have some of the absolute worst social skills, ethics, and morality, most of them are amoral, I have ever seen displayed by anyone claiming to be altruistic or charitable by any stretch of the imagination. It also took generations long to degrade our language and very lax behavioral expectations of ourselves and others. This too was entirely by design and implemented incrementally, just hoping no one noticed the precedent slowly being nudged into new standards that open the floodgates to doublespeak that lured, or right speak. You can call it right speak too. I call it doublespeak because the word, they take the correct definition, they turn it into something it's not. But yeah, doublespeak lured so many innocents into the culture wars because they didn't understand what was being said to them. So let's do our best to be mindful now that we have analyzed a macro view of our current situation so that this abuse of language and behavior gets corrected with us from the inside out. The best healings always take place from the inside out. And that is our show for you today. I'd like to thank you for joining me. Today's musical selection is Introspective Spark, and that is under my project, Transmissions Existential. Head on over to SoundCloud to check that track out, and that track is also available on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and others. For all the links to the videos and today's music selection and my animated music videos, please go on down to the description box and give those a click and check all those out. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining me. Once again, as always, it's been lovely having you with me. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff about everything that we're doing here. And that's it. So stay prepped, stay safe, stay awesome, and be absolutely excellent to one another. And I'll see you next time on Supplemental Broadcast. Thanks, everyone. Bye.